All right, Nick, which forward do you think is a must-play, someone you're going to build around? We got LeBron, who's questionable here, and then DeMar DeRozan has put up, at least 52 DK fantasy points in 5 of his last 6?
Yeah, 6 straight 35-plus point games for DeMar DeRozan, 7 straight 30-point games. First player since Michael Jordan in a Bulls uniform to accomplish those. I mean, he's been ridiculous. There's really no argument to go against DeMar DeRozan at this point, and I kind of like a DeRozan-Vucevic stack against that Sacramento defense. So that's one build that I'll certainly be considering. I mean, you mentioned LeBron. He's probably going to play 10,500. You see that Utah matchup, and it's like ingrained in my mind that that's a defense you want to avoid, but it really hasn't been the case for a lot of this season, and LeBron has essentially been matchup-proof as well. I'll also highlight Julius Randle, who is at 9,700. It feels like it's been a disastrous season for Julius Randle, and compared to last year for him and the Knicks, it kind of has, but he is starting to look more like that guy, at least fantasy-wise, over these last few games. His last 4, he's gone for 63, 56, 61, and 58 DraftKings points. So even though the Knicks are 1-3 over that stretch, even though he's had some costly turnovers late in a couple of those games, the fantasy production has still been there. So Julius Randle, 9,700, you see that tag. It maybe doesn't add up to what his reputation has been this year, but he's been pretty solid the last couple of weeks as a fantasy asset.
All right, Matty, where are you going at forward?
Yeah, I could save this guy for a value play, but there are so many value plays. I think we can just find cheap players everywhere. Assuming Anthony Edwards doesn't play tonight, I think Jaden McDaniels is someone that we definitely have to look at, $3,500. What could work in our favor is if Edwards winds up being a game-time decision and then gets ruled out after lock, I don't think a lot of people will have McDaniels. He's the likely starter, I think. I think I'm reading the situation right, that he's the guy who would slot into the starting lineup. He seems to play as a starter whenever anyone in the Wolves starting lineup is out, just kind of their sixth man, no matter who isn't there. But yeah, if people are locking in cheaper players in the 7 o'clock window, 7:30, and then we get Edwards ruled out after that, I think the ownership on McDaniels ends up being a lot lower than some other guys. But this is a slate with a ton of value plays, which is why I think we're talking about some expensive players too. By the time we get around to lock, I think we're going to be looking at a lot of stars and a lot of scrubs that are all pretty viable.
Gary Bear, forward you like. Sounds like a lot of options, expensive and not so expensive.
Yeah, I mean, Nick was kind of laying it out there. I mean, you've got DeRozan, you've got Siakam, you've got Sabonis. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go and feel really good about it at the forward position. I do think it's worth mentioning Kyle Kuzma. He's $8,600 tonight. He's got that magical matchup we've been talking about the last couple of weeks against the Pacers, who have just decided to stop playing defense, it would seem. Who can blame them? But they are giving up 122 points per 100 possessions across their last 5 games. That is the worst mark in the entire Eastern Conference. And Kuzma's kind of reached that really special territory where right now he appears to be leading the Wizards in every single important offensive category. Across his last 3 starts, he even leads the team in potential assists per game. So you've just got a guy who's constantly on triple-double watch because Kuzma's already an elite rebounder for his position. It's a pretty good scorer. So I just think against a terrible defense like Indiana, you're getting some nice value here on someone like Kuzma, who you just don't find that role with a lot of guys.